when you look at the pattern and you see how his trips have been totally coinciding, this is Epstein is with disaster zones, right? Big concentration on Serbia, Bosnia, Kosovo, and Albania during the Balkan Wars, because it's 1996, 1997, 1998. Then you see many trips and operations and activities 1999 to 2002 in Turkey. And the reason for it is that was when Turkey had the biggest, the most disastrous earthquake. And during these earthquakes, okay, they found bodies and all that, but close to 1,000 children went missing. 1,000, okay? And they were never found, any body parts, nothing. And those cases to this day remain unresolved. And when I was looking and I'm interviewing sources, some of them former officials, you're looking, this is when Epstein was going to Turkey a lot. And it was not always with this Lolita Express landing in Istanbul airport. Many of Epstein trips, he was landing in US bases airport. For example, in Turkey, that would be the US Air Base in Incirlik, right near Adana. And they have the logs for it. And so, again, I'm not going to go because these are the things we cover on, at Patreon. If those of you who are interested, probably if you're interested, you're not from the USA. And if you're interested, you can join me at patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. You can look at my past work. They are open. But many of the stuff in the past 2 months, I'm doing it in podcast series and articles for our subscribing members. So I would love to see you, especially those of you from Northern Europe and Balkans, because as I have been emphasizing, the facts will never come out of the United States when it comes to Epstein, the files, none of this, you're not going to see it. And I can have you right now underline it, put it in bold, have me sign it. I put my right hand and then say, here, I can tell you nothing. The best chances for Epstein's case to open wide open, for this Pandora box to open, is going to be Turkey and the Balkans. Okay? Again, Eastern Europe was part of it, but Romania has become a NATO member. And Romania has already destroyed so much. So I don't have much hope for Romania. But I do for Serbia, Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania, and of course, Turkey, because we got to talk about these signatures. So what happened is this. In December, when they were this fake file releases, etc., they were selected, let's put it that way, by the Justice Department here in the US. Of course, a lot of things got out that had to do, including communications between the current US ambassador, Tom Barak, right, who's the ambassador in Turkey for the United States, Trump appointee, and his communications and friendship and everything with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, Tom Barak's friendship and partnership, because they were partners in various ventures, including some of these illicit activities, right? Illicit businesses, right? The networks since 1987. Okay. So you're not looking at, oh yeah, like 2006, they were, no. These two have been operating together since 1987. In fact, of all the people there within the files, it has been Tom Barak who has had the most pieces of communication, which they haven't released, 99.999% of it, and they will never release, with Jeffrey Epstein. To be exact, 542 email text communications between Jeffrey Epstein and the US ambassador to Turkey, Tom Barak. Okay? Think about it. Think about it. Turkey. Okay? So with that, okay, coming out, but also there were some leaks within Turkey about establishing that Epstein's plane, this is just one plane, private, they have it documented, had made at least 9 trips, and that's since 2007, to Turkey. In one of these trips, he went afterwards to the US base in Afghanistan, okay? And then the other trips would be right before he would go to Israel. Again, with my investigations, the Israeli operatives for child organ trafficking operated with Epstein's child sex trafficking. Child organ trafficking and child sex trafficking was going hand in hand. Now, some of these were for illegal organ, right, market for people in Israel and some people in Europe, but mostly Israel. But in some cases, they used children and organs freshly harvested for study purposes, and in some cases it was for ritualistic purposes. Again, I'm not going to go into that right now. I don't want to be canvas on and make it about entertainment and put bullshit, because these we are approaching it methodically, systematically going through the stuff, not willy-nilly putting a lot of words and pushing the buttons that would activate people and say, wow, that's horrifying, that's amazing. That is not my style. That has never been my style. I don't like to do that. So with these information leaking, right, with Tom Barrack's communication with Epstein, one MP, okay, member of parliament, and he's a medical doctor who's also a medical doctor, he grabbed it by the neck, right? The Epstein case and Epstein files in Turkey, because the Turkish intelligence agency, MIT, in Turkey we call it MIT, okay? The Turkish police and the Turkish other governmental agencies, they have hundreds of thousands of documents, files pertaining to Epstein's in Turkey, pertaining to Epstein's partners, including other Israelis operating in Turkey, and the Turkish partners, including doctors, okay? Ambulance operators. I mean, this is unbelievably deep. And this guy kept insisting, this MP saying, we want those files open. We want these files public, because we do have thousands of children missing, okay? And we know that many of them were victims of the Epstein's network and the partner networks like child sex trafficking, child organ trafficking for ritualistic purposes. And we have the documentation of his planes, the times, the dates. So he kept pressing on, and the Turkish government kept like ignoring, saying, no, we are not going to investigate this. We're not going to open this file. Some people went to court, right? Just like the United States, they went to court and they tried to open it via the court system, and the same result, okay? And then I was pushing and saying, well, there are hundreds of MPs. Is this only one man? And so I have been working and getting information from the sources, and there it is. This is one of them. I got the list of MPs who have gone and supported this MP, who is the leader of trying to get Epstein's case and files opened in Turkey, and 3 times with the Turkish parliament, and all 3 times they were shut down. But of the hundreds, here are the names, and these are the people. And the guy who's leading it now, the Turkish government trying to remove his parliamentarian immunity, meaning the members of parliament in Turkey have immunity of being prosecuted for certain things. And they are going to vote on this very soon because they want to jail this guy because of Epstein stuff, okay? It's that hot in Turkey. It's that explosive. I'm going to go further and tell you something that is the most explosive news, that those mother effers, all their Candaces and all these Israeli Mossad planted mind control people who are getting the attention, trying to make people zombie with the AI induced keywords. You want to co-opt and divert the opposition, you have to become one, talk like one, right? And tell them what they want to hear, or they think they want to hear, or they think they are hearing the right things, right? This is what these operatives are. And we're going to get to that towards the end of that. But here's the explosive things nobody has reported here other than my humble self here. And this is at least a month and a half old. Of all the governments that were dragged, who were dragged into this Epstein's case, Turkey is the only country, only government that invoked state secrets privilege, the state secrecy. They said the reason we are not going to open Epstein's Turkey file is because they involve the government state secrets. And saying that means what? It means the government is involved. You can't invoke government secrets if the secrets don't involve government. Now you see, just like Mossad is being part of Israel's government involved, you're looking at Turkey's government directly involved with Epstein's and these Mossad operations over 3 decades. And because of that, the only government, the only country that the case officially has been designated as Government Secret Act, the state secrets, therefore it can't be investigated or taken to courts or opened up, okay? And now I want you to ask yourself, if we have anybody from the US, probably we don't, but ask yourself, me, I have reported this, it's open, it's public through me, right? And it's documented in Turkey because it made it to the newspapers. Why would everyone who's saying they are chasing Epstein and Mossad and all this stuff and making hundreds of millions of dollars out of idiotic people in this country, they wouldn't report on the fact that there is one country in the world that has actually officially formally declared that its state's secrets, government secrets. As I said, I'm going to repeat for those people who may have been not paying attention. In order for it to be government secrets, the government has to be directly involved. You can't declare government secrets if government is not in it. But then again, despite the fact that they have seen it, they're all blacking out. This is the only place, and of course the publications, these are mainstream media in Turkey. The day it was declared, we call it in Turkish, devlet sırrı. It's the Government Secrets, the State Secrets Act. Applies, therefore, nobody can pursue it in Turkey. So again, news and information, the real facts that you will not find anywhere else. This guy, they're trying to jail this guy because he's standing for those missing children and families who've been looking, searching for their missing children. That's how serious this is. And of hundreds of MPs, there it is. They're like, I don't know, if you count it, you're looking at maybe 16, 17 MPs out of hundreds. Because of the fear factor, because of the chamber of terror established by the current government. As I said, I have been pursuing it heavily because after doing it with Albania, it has come to fruition. I want to see this to come to fruition with people in Turkey and for them to rise up.